Hi. In this presentation, I'll be talking about Gene Caritas process number 3. And my name is Charles Johnson, and this is my midterm presentation. We're going to talk about Gene Watson's. And what is a caritas? A caritas comes from the Latin word meaning to cherish, to appreciate, to give special, if not loving, attention to. It represents charity and compassion, generosity of spirit. It connotes something very fine, indeed, something precious that needs to be cultivated and sustained. So that's what caritas mean. Uh, Gene Watson uh, had 10 caritas. And the 10 caritas, number one, is one also that I relate very much to, and that's practicing love, kindness, and compassion and equanimity toward selves and others. And caritas number two is being authentic, being present and enabling faith, hope, and a belief system, honoring subjective inner life world of self and others. So I'm going to be talking about my favorite one, which is number 3, which is cultivating one's own spiritual practices, deepening your self-awareness, and going beyond your ego self. Number 4 is developing and sustaining a helping or trusting, authentic, caring relationship. Number 5 is being present to and supportive of the expression of positive and negative feelings. Number 6 is creativity, problem solving, solution seeking through the caring process. Number 7 is engaging in transpersonal learning with context of caring relationships, basically staying with others in the frame of a reference. Number 8 is creating a healing environment at all levels. And number 9 is assisting with basic needs as sacred acts, touching the mind, the body, the spirit of others, sustaining human dignity. Number 10, open to spiritual, mystery, and the unknowns, leaving yourself open to the spiritual, the mystery, and the unknowns, allowing for miracles. And these are the Gene Watson Caritas. So, Caritas number 3, cultivating of sensitivity to oneself and others. The Caritas process that appeals to me most is Caritas number 3. So this Caritas process feels similar to number 1 and number 8. And I feel like this Caritas process allows me to fulfill other Caritas process. That's why I picked this one. It's the closest one. And it emphasizes our own sensitivity to ourselves. So when you are sensitive to yourself, you can be sensitive to others. If we are not sensitive to ourselves, how can we be sensitive to others? And adapting spiritual practices to be in tune with oneself. Caritas number 3 helps the individual grow spiritual maturity. It helps our individual spiritual maturity. So, I believe that this Caritas process is the best for me because I feel like it allows me to be loving and kindness. Have that. I feel like it allows me to have a healing environment with my patient. I feel like, as I grow, I become more loving and caring as a nurse. And this really helps me check myself at the door, making sure that I leave the problems of yesterday or my own problems at home and my own feelings and biases, if I have any, at home. Why Caritas process number 3 appeals to me? Well, I do find that as I grow spiritually, my empathy grows. So I grew up in church. I grew up looking at Eastern philosophy, different books, uh, and I find that the more I grow spiritually, the more empathy I have for my patient. I think ultimately I came into nursing to heal as well. So growing up with a background that some would consider hard, I feel like nursing has allowed me to heal as a person as well. And as I heal, I help others heal. I truly believe that the Watson is saying this is what Watson is saying, in her Caritas. So I really believe in Caritas number three, that you have to be centered, you have to know yourself before you can help others. You have to be sensitive to yourself before you can be sensitive to others. I have looked for solutions outside myself to help myself, and I've been unsuccessful in the past. And I believe, again, what Watson said is that we have to look in ourselves and be sensitive to ourselves lifelong, and then we can be sensitive to others. And this will help us complete all of the Caritas processes. So as I grow in myself, I can be loving and kind. I can create an environment of healing as number eight. I can fulfill a lot of the other Caritas processes. And I look, uh, the more I know what I feel, the more I can feel for others. And that's the main synopsis of Caritas number three. So, making the Caritas number three work for me. Now, as Watson has said, as I adopt my spiritual practices, I grow as a nurse. So I'm still learning what I every day and growing in my spirituality, and it allows me to go ahead and help others. The more I grow, the more I can help other people. I feel my ego shrinks, and I feel in some capacity I am a living sacrifice. No, I'm not there to be abused, but I feel like I'm here to give myself to my patients and be there for them because I've laid down my ego at the door. So I'm shedding my ego and more open to disappointment and struggles of others. So I can't judge people. I don't I If I'm in the ER working, I don't judge the homeless. I don't know what they've been through. I don't know what the psychiatric patient that I'm taking care of. I don't judge him, and I let any negative interactions go that I may have had with him in the past. I'm growing into my potential, and I can make lifelong changes. So each day, I'm growing. Yeah, every now and then, I do say, well, the patient may have brought it on themselves in my mind, but then I have to check myself immediately and say, hey, they still need to be treated, and they still an individual. And just because the other patient did that to me doesn't mean this patient will do that to me. I'm growing into my potential and making lifelong changes. I recognize my feelings and how it affects my nursing practice. So I know what I'm feeling. I know a patient. I don't make it my business when a patient denies their medication or don't follow their plan of care. It's not a failure of my own. When I was a young nurse, I basically always made it feel like it was my failure that the patient didn't want to take their medication or didn't want to follow the doctor's orders, or I couldn't convince them to do something. I often took it upon myself to feel like I failed, but it's not mine. I have to be sensitive to them and treat them like an individual. So, Caritas number three in my nursing practice. I work in a variety of settings with patients with numerous struggles. So I have to understand their struggle and again, not be biased. So I quickly check any biases that I might have about my patient immediately. I'm more forgiving when my patient acts out towards me when I know how I feel. So, knowing my feelings, I've had a patient throw a book in my face and break my glasses and apologize the next day. I don't hold that against him, and I'm able to move on as I grow in my practice, as I grow spiritually, because I know I can't hold it against him. He is being treated for psychiatric issues. So it's not, it may be a behavior issue, it may be on purpose, but I can't judge. I don't take a patient's noncompliance as an attack against me. If they don't want to take their meds and it's not a psych med and they're not conserved under LPS law, I don't try to force them. I usually just ask them again, and maybe three more times, and say, okay, you understand the repercussions of not taking your medication, that you may not get better, but I don't take it as a personal attack against myself, or they don't like me, so they don't want to take their meds. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to help my patient to the best of my ability. So, Caritas number 3 is really how I feel about my practice. And I also forget yesterday's negative interactions and start my day new. And I see my patients as individuals, and I do not make preconceived notions. I don't think about them because every patient that comes in that's homeless is looking for a handout. I don't make it. They're here to get cared for, and they're here to be treated as an individual, and they're here for my care. And I cannot get involved in any negative thought processes. I look to learn from my patients and their experiences. I love working with patients. I love learning different things. They have different experiences that I don't have, and I love learning. Jane Watson, Caring Science. Watson wrote, effective caring promotes healing, health, individual, family growth, and a sense of wholeness, forgiveness, evolved consciousness, and inner peace that transcends the crisis and the fear of the disease, diagnosis, illnesses, traumas, life changes, and so on. And Caritas process number 3 really helps one effectively care throughout their nursing practice. And I really feel that way. And this Caritas process number 3 really helps me with this. So that's my presentation and my midterm presentation at United States University. Thank you for watching.